Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. It's great to have you with us today. My name is Tom Hassan, and I'm SYA's president. And you'll find me right now in the home office, which is in North Andover, Massachusetts. And both on this side of the Atlantic and over in Zaragoza, Spain, we are so delighted that you're with us, and students, you'll be with us for the coming school year. So welcome, and delighted that you're here. This is one of two webinars for the summer. This one, we want to just introduce you to a few key people that you'll come to know and love at SYA, and to hear a little bit about how you kind of prepare yourself for the SYA experience that lies ahead of you. The other one that we'll do right at the end of the summer, right before you depart, will give you a lot of information about in terms of departure, both from America, and then also what you'll find on the other side of the ocean when you get to Spain. So that will be a much more logistics kind of webinars, and that will be at the end of the summer. But for today's, we really just want to get you to know some really wonderful people that parents you'll be entrusting your children with, and also students that you'll come to know and work with throughout the school year. But before I do, I want to introduce two people from the home office with me. One is Grace Saraviya, and Grace is our registrar. She's also going to be the person who's going to escort the students from the JFK airport in the end of August and get you settled in over there in Zaragoza. And Grace knows a lot about SYA. She has worked at one of our founding schools, helping many generations of students get there. And in fact, maybe her greatest credential is that she's the mother of Regina, class of 11 from SYA Spain. So she has a lot of information and a lot of love for what we do. The other person is Maggie Bland. And Maggie, you probably don't need any introduction because all these families know you probably the best because you're our country manager in Spain. And at some point today, I think on this webinar, Maggie, you'll probably mention a few things about what's going on. So those are my colleagues over here. And just want to say a few words before I introduce Rocío, who's the resident director over in Spain. One is that I'd like to say that you'll find many things that are familiar to you when you embark upon the SYA experience. Obviously, you'll be in school. It's going to be very high standards. We follow, our history that was founded by Exeter Andover and St. Paul's, so the academics are clearly at a wonderfully high level. The second thing is that you'll also, as a school, we expect students to look out for one another, to abide by our rules and regulations, and you'll hear more about that over the coming months about how that all works. But so it's going to feel like school to you, as it is school. The other thing, though, there will be two major differences for you. One is that you're going to be living with a host family, and that is, on the one level, the most exciting thing that you'll find. Can be a little daunting. We have a student who's just been with us in Spain, and she can probably give you her insights into all of that. So you'll hear from Emerson a little bit today. And the other thing that we have is that we really do get a chance to take you out of your seats rather than just kind of learning Spanish in a closed classroom. We use the area and the region as your classroom. So Alvaro was going to talk about how we do these wonderful each week days where we do assignments to kind of get you out of your seats and right there using your Spanish. So I think that's, the host family and our experiential part are two really wonderfully strong aspects of SYA. I want to leave you with one thought, and I kind of go back to my COVID time when my youngest daughter was back home. And I was just really excited, not only to be with my youngest daughter, and that was fun, but also because I had a built-in tech person who could help me, like a grade. She can, and finally she looked at me one day and she said, "Dad," and she had taught at Teach for America. She said, "Dad, I'm going to use a term that I learned in my teaching days." I said, "What's that?" She said, "Struggle time." And I said, "Well, describe that to me." She said, "I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to guide you through, and you have to do it. And so there was moments when I was trying to figure it out, and she said, well, here's some thoughts, and I kind of figured it out on my own, and I had those aha moments, like, this is great. Like, I feel really good about myself. I struggled and I came out on the other side. And the reason I tell you all that is I think SYA has that element of struggle time. And the end is a joyous moment of when you really are dreaming in the language and when you and your host family are clicking and all that. But it doesn't come the instant you get there. And so there's going to be those moments. But know, and this is the most important thing, what I'm going to say, know that there is a wonderful support network of adults there to be with you and to help you out. So you're going to have your struggle moments. There's going to be support for you, and you're going to come out saying this was an amazing experience. And that's what the alums reinforce in their conversations with me all the time. So with all of that introduction, I want to turn now to Rocio, who is your resident director, who comes from one of our founding schools, St. Paul's School, where she taught for a number of years. Most recently, she has helped set up a boarding program in a school in Poland. And so she has been in Europe most recently and has now just moved to Zaragoza. So with that, welcome. Thank you, Rocio.
Muchas gracias, señor Hassan. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos estudiantes y familias de la promoción 2022-2023. We are very excited to have you here and to see you in 2 months in Zaragoza. And we can't wait to meet you all in person. So first of all, I know Maggie wants to say a couple of things, probably some reminders or updates. So I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit about that.
Thank you, Rocio. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this exciting Zoom event. I know I've emailed with all of you at this point about the exciting visa season. I'm very grateful for all of you for putting in that hard work. I see Emerson laughing over there. It is a process every year and it is worth it. I will just say that you're welcome to put your questions for our team in Spain in the chat box. We'll be getting to those. I'll help get to those so that our team in Spain can focus on getting to you. But I would ask that if you have visa related questions to please email me. It's different for every consulate, so that's probably easier to leave out of this Zoom. But other than that, I'm so excited for all of you. I studied abroad in Spain, lived with a host family, and just cannot wait for all of you students to get there. So I'll turn it back to our team in Spain, who's wonderful. I was also just on campus a few months ago, and so you're in for a treat. But without further ado, back to Rocio. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Maggie. And I just want to give you a brief overview of how the first 2 weeks will look here in Zaragoza once you arrive. So upon your arrival, we have different activities and games prepared to help you start using the language right away and to encourage you to get to know your classmates and also your teachers because they will be all here waiting for you. And in the afternoon of the day of your arrival, you will get to know your host families and you will start your SYA journey. So the first 2 weeks here will be dedicated to the Immersion Unit, which has been designed to help you use and practice the language and also to get familiarized with all the rules and expectations so you can have the best possible experience here. We will close the Immersion Unit with a whole school day trip to Alquézar, which is a historic pueblo declared a World Heritage Site by the UNESCO. So it is a very exciting treat after the Immersion Unit. And now I would like to give you a few reminders that are important. The first one is the Slack platform. So you all have received an email to activate your accounts, your Slack accounts. So this is a platform that you are going to be using quite a lot here because you will use it to communicate with your teachers will use it to communicate with you, I will use it to communicate with you too. So as you can see, it is essential that you activate this account. And also the technology orientation course. So please remember that you should all complete this course by July the 20th, okay? You all have received an email from Mr. Tomás Arrebo and sending you all the information for this course. And so far, I think 30% of the students that are coming to SYA in Zaragoza have completed the course, but everyone else is still in process or have not started yet. So please remember that. And if you have any questions, please contact Mr. Tomás Arruebo. If somebody can put his email in the chat, that would be great. So just in case you need to ask any questions, okay? And now I would like to thank all the SYA Zaragoza team because they've been working really hard this summer. So muchísimas gracias a todos. And I would like to also thank the faculty and our former student, Immersion, who's here too, to tell you a little bit about her experience. So if we could start introducing yourselves and, so maybe we can start with Álvaro. Álvaro, no te oímos.
Okay. Hello. Hola a todos. Hola a todas. My name is Álvaro Ávila. I teach at the school year abroad. I teach 2 classes, Spanish Culture and Civilization and Experiential Spanish.
And Kim?
Hello, everybody. Our relationship's going to be in English, so I'll just jump right into the English. So I'm the English teacher here at SYA Spain, and I'm really eager to meet you all. So yeah, Mr. Hassan had said there's a lot that's going to be very familiar about the SYA program. So the English class will seem familiar in many ways, but it's also going to be a bit different in terms of how we really try to sculpt the class to kind of fit with the SYA experience, the study abroad experience. And I'll talk more about the details when we actually meet and we get a little bit sort of in a more intimate space. But I just wanted to say hello to everybody. And I also wanted to just put a reminder out there, or sort of a notice, that I will probably reach out to you like maybe mid-August to gather some information about you. It's very helpful for me to put together a curriculum that works for everyone. So I'd like to get some information, especially because we have sophomores and juniors and seniors and semester students. So just keep an eye out with, with your SYA email in mind, that I'll send a message out about mid-August to connect with you. Okay. All right. Can't wait to meet you.
Muchas gracias, Kim. Now, Bill.
Hello, I'm Bill Scott. I'm returning to SYA. I taught in Zaragoza in 2006 and 2007. Had an amazing year. It was one of the best years of my teaching career. I was on the faculty at Andover for 33 years and recently retired from Andover, but I'm eager to get back to work in Spain. I have lots of wonderful friends there. The teachers are dear friends of mine, most of the teachers. I have a few new faces and new friends to make, but the teachers are fabulous people. And when I had the opportunity to return to Spain, I jumped at it. So the math, I don't think we need to worry too much about math placement until you get there. If you want to reach out to me, please do. I'm on Slack, and so you can reach me there. But I'm confident that with the placement from the home office in North Andover and the time we have once we get to Spain, we'll sort out all the placement. But again, if you feel you need to tell me before then, we can make that happen, of course. Again, thank you, Tom, for letting me be a part of this. So can't wait to see you all in Spain. And thank you.
Muchas gracias, Bill. Y now our former student, Emerson.
Hola, bienvenidos a todos. My name is Emerson. I just came back from Spain, and I was a senior when I went, and I'm from Austin, Texas, and I cannot wait to tell y'all about my experience today.
So now we have a video from one of our Spanish teachers, Marta. She wasn't able to attend the webinar because she's traveling with the students that are here for the summer program, but she wanted to say hi. So she recorded a video. So Grace, if you don't mind, please.
Absolutely. Here it goes.
Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes. Estoy aquí en Zaragoza, siento no poder estar en directo con vosotros y vosotras, pero nos conoceremos muy pronto. Mirad, soy Marta, soy profesora de lengua española, una de las profesoras que hay en SYA Abroad. Mirad, este es el colegio que os está esperando con tantísimas ganas para aprender juntos. ¿Qué esperamos de vosotros y vosotras? Pues muchísima energía, muchísima pasión, mucha motivación. Las clases de lengua se estructuran según el nivel con el que venís, pero cada uno mejora en proporción de su trabajo personal. Cuanta más inmersión con la familia, con los amigos españoles, con la vida de la comunidad, vuestro español mejorará muchísimo. Los idiomas son preciosos, pero difíciles y hay que dedicarles esfuerzo, como todo en la vida. Las clases son clases que siguen un método comunicativo, fundamentalmente, pero hacemos revisión de los puntos gramaticales, nociofuncionales, que requiera vuestra experiencia aquí. Solemos organizarlo por temas que acompañan el día a día. Pues el tema de la educación, el tema de la salud, el tema de la familia, pero hay 1000 cosas que hacemos. Hacemos cortometrajes, leemos cuentos, vemos las adaptaciones de las películas, depende también un poquito de vuestros intereses, ¿vale? ¿Qué podéis hacer para venir todavía mejor preparados? Pues os vamos a enviar, si no está ya enviada, os vamos a enviar una lista con muchos recursos. ¿Es fundamental ver siempre deportes o telediario? Bueno, ¿qué os gusta hacer? Pensad qué os gusta ver, hacer, leer en vuestra propia lengua y elegid de esos recursos el que se parezca más en español. Porque para dedicar tiempo a la lectura, a la música, etcétera, tiene que interesaros, tiene que gustaros el tema. Entonces ponemos muchos recursos para que elijáis lo que se adapte mejor a vuestras aficiones. Bueno, pues un abrazo muy fuerte desde Zaragoza y espero que nos veamos muy pronto. ¡Feliz verano! Chao. Y gracias por elegir SYA. Chao.
I think it goes back to the squares.
Gracias, Grace. So as Marta mentioned in the video, we will be sending you a list of resources that can help you to get ready before your arrival in Zaragoza. This is no homework, okay? This is just a list of resources that you can use if you would like to come to Zaragoza a little more prepared in terms of the language, okay? Emerson, how did you prepare before coming to Zaragoza?
Okay, so my one recommendation would definitely be watch TV shows or movies. And I mean, there are 2 benefits of that in addition to learning the language more. Like you can also talk about like Spanish shows with people in Spain because a lot of them watch shows like La Casa de Papel. And then also what I did was I listened to a lot of the top 50 on Spotify in Spain. That is also great because when you get there, you can kind of hit the ground running with the music because so many people will be playing those songs and it's kind of more fun if you know that. And also this is less fun, but you can always read. I find that super helpful too. They don't have to be like huge books, you know, you can start with smaller books. But really anything to kind of stimulate the language because you're not really using it much this summer, I'm guessing. So that's definitely what I did and I found that super helpful.
Muchas gracias, Emerson. Some other tip that I would like to give is that it's pretty, you all probably have some level of Spanish already, but Duolingo always keep you on your toes every day. It reminds you have to do your 10 minutes of Duolingo, so maybe just for a little bit of fun when you are waiting in the bus or at the grocery line or something, kind of reviewing vocabulary is always good, I think. But thank you so much, everyone, for your introductions. And now I would like to talk about some highlights ahead. The first one of all, I think, it will be to meet your host families. So this is probably one of the most important parts of your SYA experience. And for this reason, I think it is essential to establish meaningful relationships with them. So a starting point will be to connect with them during the summer. And I think at least twice during the summer. And if you can maintain the communication during the summer, that would be great. This way, when you get to Zaragoza, they won't be strangers. That moment that you get into the car with them and drive home, at least you know already a little bit about them. So I guess you all have received information about them. So starting to contacting them now will be a good idea. Emerson, what kind of advice can you give us on how to connect with family during the summer? How did you do it?
Okay, well, sometimes you'll get like an email or a phone number. So you can start with either one of those. I know to me, an email seemed a bit formal. So I just reached out via WhatsApp. And I know some people did like video llamadas with their family before meeting them, but I know I was a little scared to do that because I know that can be awkward. So really just reach out. They're just happy to hear from you and to see snippets of your life or just learn more about you, because I mean, they're welcoming you into their house too. So it's a two-way street. You're not the only one who's nervous. So I think both sides of that, both people want to get to know each other. So I would, definitely reach out via WhatsApp. And they're super welcoming and sweet. They want to hear from you.
Muchas gracias, Emerson. So another highlight that also Mr. Hassan mentioned is our class of experiential Spanish or Español experiencial y el trabajo de campo. And we have here Álvaro, one of our wonderful teachers, and he will explain a little bit about this.
Hola de nuevo a todos. As Rocío has said, I want to explain you some details about the experiential Spanish class. That is a class that is part of SYA experience since 2 years ago, and this is a class that is place-based and student-centered, and is taught totally in Spanish. Está enseñada en español, and provides opportunities to improve your language skills and fluency in Spanish in real-world situations. In this class, we use a huge range of resources and unique learning environments, taking advantage of daily life experiences and events, festivals, ceremonies that happen in town during the year. This class meets 3 times a week at the school, and during these periods, we get ready for the weekly field work, which is the moment to go outside and to be exposed to real situations to use your Spanish. Every week, each Wednesday will be devoted to this field work, the whole day. During the year, we cover different topics. The course begins with an immersion into Zaragoza, then we enlarge our perspective of our region, Aragon, and finally, we cover the whole country. Besides that, this course leads up to a final project at the end of the first semester and builds up to a capstone project at the end of the year. Maybe Emerson later may explain hers. What's the spirit of the class? This is an important point. The class provides a balance between a relaxed atmosphere and a demanding work environment. You are strongly encouraged to participate and freely express your ideas and thoughts. It's expected that you leave your comfort zone and explore the world around you with an open-minded attitude. We have several kinds of assignments. In classroom, we have discussion, debates, role plays, creative dialogues, writing and sharing short stories and reflections. But the most important and exciting part is what we do outside. We explore Zaragoza, we visit exhibitions, attend plays, movies, events. We host or attend conferences with experts on different topics, healthcare, immigration, etc. We visit associations, civic centers, and we propose activities maybe simple, but when you will be here, you will see that are tough, as shopping in a traditional market, or learning how to order tapas in a local does, etc. If I had to choose two exciting experiences that we had last year, the first one will be when students explored different districts in Zaragoza, discovering their stories, taking pictures, analyzing their social structures, and interviewing neighbors in order to learn more about their realities and challenges. The second one would be when students research about the population in rural areas in Aragon. We discuss local initiatives devoted to changing this demographic tendency. And then we visit Oliete, a small village invited by Apadrina un Olivo, that means adopt an olive tree. There we planted more than 100 olive trees. Emerson, do you remember that day? To support this initiative and to fight against desertification. So this is the main ideas of this class. And maybe Emerson at this point may add something else.
Yeah, so this was by far my favorite class. I can say that now, but you learn so much about the culture that you wouldn't have thought of. Like your family in Spanish friends, they can offer you a lot, but this is definitely more structured. So like you'll be interviewing people in the streets, which sounds kind of scary, and it is, and it's definitely embarrassing at times. But you will you'll get over it eventually because you have to do it so much. And I loved how the class, it pivots a lot to things that are relevant. Like one time the Ebro was flooding, and immediately Alvaro was like, okay, you guys, you're going to the river and you're gonna interview people and you're gonna learn about this. So I loved that. And it was also great because I was able to understand things more like the school system in Spain, which can be a little complicated if you're not from there. Like what does bachillerato mean and stuff like that. And you'll just learn so much more about the culture. Like he touched on the capstone project, which everyone does at the end of the year. And so that means like you'll interview and do field work and learn about one specific thing and just really delve into one topic that you can really only do there. And yeah, you're gonna have a blast. I'm really jealous that y'all can do Wednesdays. You'll have Wednesdays to focus on field work because we did not have that, probably I think because of COVID. So really do not take those for granted because you'll learn so much from experiential.
Muchas gracias, Emerson, y muchas gracias, Álvaro. Emerson, what was your capstone about? Do you want to tell us?
Yeah, so I did mine about wine because I want to have a winery when I'm older, so that's a different thing. But lots of people, mine was a little out of the ordinary. People did immigration, which was super popular, or that was popular, and someone did bullfighting, and there were so many, public transport, rowing. So really people pick something that they're just passionate about or curious about, and can just learn all I want about it for a few months, which I think is super unique. So you need to aprovechar, which you'll hear a lot when you're there, or take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. Muchas gracias, Emerson. Otro de los aspectos interesantes de la experiencia en SYA serán los viajes, the trips. So we have different school trips to different parts of Spain, accompanied by your teachers who have tailored the trips to the different aspects of the culture of the place that you will be visiting. And then we will also have independent travel that will happen at the end of the fall term. And we will be discussing that in length once we are getting close to the date. Emerson, I was curious if you can tell us a little bit about the school trips that you took part.
Yeah, so I can talk a little about, in the fall, there were 3 trips. I was on the trip to Andalusia. We went to Sevilla, Cordoba, Cádiz. And then there was another trip that went to the north. So they went to San Sebastian and Bilbao. And then there was another, let me think, where'd they go? They went to Barcelona. And that just Barcelona because it's huge. But so you learn so much about the places. Like we had a professional, we had Alvaro show us around Cádiz, which is where you spent your summers, I believe. And so I know one group, they got to meet with local kids on their school trip. Like they were paired with a local school. So it's a time where you can really get to know a different part of Spain with the school, which is super special. And you'll try a ton of new food and you'll see local activities. Like when I was in Sevilla, we saw a flamenco show, of course, because that's where flamenco's from. And then in the spring, I went to Valencia. So of course there I ate lots of paella. I'm pretty sure I gained a few pounds while we were there. But and then so in the spring, we had another 3 trips. So another group went to Andalusia, just like I had in the fall. And then there's a group that went to Valencia, which is where I went. And then another group went to Galicia, which was amazing, I hear. So, but yeah, it's a really great time to get to know your peers. I'd say look around, but you can't really see anyone if no one's cameras are on. But it's a great bonding time, and you'll definitely learn more about your teachers too. Like I was on a few trips I was on a trip with teachers that I didn't have in class, but I really wanted to get to know. So like during meals and excursions, it was a great time to get to know them, and it's also a great time to practice your Spanish more. I know it can be hard to do that among your peers because it's just not natural for you to speak Spanish with someone who is also American and wants to speak English, but it's a great time to not look so giddy-esque, which is what people will probably call you if you are speaking in English. And that is what they call like British people or tourists really, but they'll just assume you're British if you're speaking in English. So that's about all I have to say about trips with the school.
Muchas gracias, Emerson. And now switching topics, I would like to talk a little bit about safety. So first I'm gonna mention safety regarding COVID. So the virus here in Spain has been following a similar pattern that what you've seen in the United States, in the sense that the virus is still prevalent, but for the most part it's not causing severe illnesses. And in Spain, since more than 93% of the population is fully vaccinated, the mask mandates have been lifted, except for medical facilities and public transportation. So here at SYA Zaragoza, we have COVID protocols in place that will be activated if it's necessary. And now talking a little bit more about general safety, I want you to know that safety is our #1 priority here. So we take the rules very seriously, and we very much reinforce those rules because they keep us safe. The Immersion Unit is in part designed to present our rules and to make sure that everyone understands them and understands how to be safe here. So some of the things we have in place is the RD is always on call. So this is me, available 24 hours. And you will all have my phone number, of course. We also have a doctor on call, Dr. Gracia, and he's been working with us for more than 10 years. He also works at the clinic that is next to the school where students can visit if it's necessary. And talking about safety too, there are certain documents that you should bring with you at all times where you are here in Spain. So we will review these documents once you get here in the Immersion Unit, but just so you have an idea, everyone needs to carry with them the SYA safety card, your Carnet Joven, which is a card, Emerson knows about this probably, del Carnet Joven, you will get it once you get here. A copy of your passport, because we will keep your passports here in a safe. and your NIE card, which is like your identification card in Spain, because any policeman can ask you for this card at any time. So it's very important that everyone's carried this once you get it. And of course your phones, so that you must have your phones always with you, so you can reach, we can reach you if it's necessary, or you can reach us if you need to. So you don't need to buy a new phone, but you can bring to Zaragoza an unlocked phone. Because you can just buy a SIM card and put it in the phone that is unlocked. That's what I've done, for example, with my phone. So Emerson, can you explain a little bit about how the unlocked phone works and safety in general in Zaragoza?
Okay, so in the handbook, I know it says something about phones, like you could buy a flip phone there or something, or come with an unlocked phone, but I would definitely recommend coming with an unlocked phone. So all you need to do is call your data provider and they'll unlock it for you. And then once you get to Zaragoza, literally like the first or second day, your host family will just take you to like Orange or something. And you can buy a SIM card, a new SIM card there. It's pretty cheap and you just need your passport. And so then like from there on, it's super easy. You can just recharge it every month. You can either go to like a tobacco store or you can just do it online. It's very straightforward. And that way you don't like, you're comfortable with how to use that phone. It's the same thing. It's just data from Europe. So I would definitely recommend to do that. And then safety, Zaragoza is a very safe city. They'll tell you a little more about like when we have Pilares, which is in October, I believe. Like a lot of people from outside Zaragoza will come into the city, and then you have to be a little bit more careful about like pickpockets and stuff. But in general, you really don't have to worry about that in Zaragoza. But like keep in mind, if you speak in Spanish, you're less of a target for pickpockets and stuff like that. Like when, especially in Barcelona and in Madrid, like the big cities, you know, people do that for a living. And like when I was in Barcelona with some friends, I got my phone stolen, and because I was speaking in English, I believe that was it. But I got it back. I yelled at him in Spanish and he gave it back to me because he didn't think I spoke Spanish. So it's safe all around. I will guarantee you will probably feel safer there than in America these days. So yeah, you should be fine. You'll have a great time.
Muchas gracias, Emerson. So I would also like to comment on communication, since we've been talking about phones. So communications between you and your families and your friends at home. So I think this may be one of the hardest parts at the beginning, because of course you want to tell your family and friends the wonderful things that you are doing here, and you know how amazing everything is. But in order to immerse yourself fully in the SYA experience, you will have to keep those communications to a reasonable limit. And I think this will be hard at the beginning. And again, we talked about this. Mr. Hassan mentioned, you know, there will be challenging situations, and this is one of them probably. So, but it is important to keep in mind that immersing yourself in the culture is really important, and you know, limiting those communications is a part of that. So Emerson, how did you manage this part when you got here to Zaragoza and during the school year?
Well, I would agree. It was definitely super hard at first because you're so accustomed to talking to your friends or family. So first off, I would say that if you like want to talk to someone about your experience, like look around you, your peers, they're going through the exact same thing. You don't know them that well when you first get there, but like towards the end, like they're going to be your lifelong friends probably. And yeah, they are the only people that are going through the same thing as you. And in addition to that, there's also the Truman Group that you can talk to, that these are professionals or therapists that you can, they're really good with expats. So you can talk to them and instead of your friends back home, maybe. But I know that's hard. And so when I was there at first, I was definitely talking to my friends more. But as the time went on and I got closer to my SYA group, then I talked to them less and less. And they'll be there when you get back, and they'll be so excited to see you, but I would definitely take advantage of, like, you're not going to be there for too long. The time will fly. So definitely try and cut back as much as possible. And then for communication with your family, I would definitely set like an hour aside on like Sunday, for example, to Zoom or FaceTime your parents or your siblings. I would try not to go beyond that, because then it's just really hard. Like, you can be texting them throughout the week, like maybe send them a photo or two, but definitely just try not to go on the phone with them outside of that, like allotted time. So yeah, and I know a lot of people did that, just like set aside a little bit on like a Sunday. And if you're busy, then like do that next week. Cause I mean, not much will have changed probably. So let's see. Yeah, that's all I have to say really about that. So really try to cut back.
Muchas gracias, Emerson. So I was wondering if anybody from the SYA team, or Emerson included, if you have any words of advice for the students who are at home and they are starting to prepare for their journey to Zaragoza.
First off, I would definitely say, do not pack a lot. I have a minor shopping addiction, and I I bought a lot of things before I left. And you really don't need to do that. You just want to have the bare minimum, honestly, when you go. And then they're like, clothes in general are cheaper there. So you can have fun shopping while you're there. Or else you're gonna have to pay a lot of money to ship your clothes back or buy another suitcase. Like, don't do what I did. I had to spend 200 euros to ship things home because I'd bought way too many things. So definitely be careful with that.
Thank you very much, Emerson. I was just looking at the chat about the reading assignment for English. Kim, would you like to comment on this?
Sure. Yeah, I was going to type something in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no assigned reading. But what I would encourage people to do is to spend some time reading, to find the things that you enjoy reading, but also try to find some things that you find a bit challenging, just to kind of keep yourself sort of in a sort of routine of reading. And like I said, I'm going to send out an email to everyone. I can do it relatively soon, maybe in the next week or so, to get some information from everyone. And I'll have some questions about the kinds of things that you like to read and what you have been reading. But I do encourage people to I would choose the things that are on your to read list, like things that you've wanted to get to. Put aside some time just so you can kind of keep that pattern going of reading. But we don't have any assigned text that everyone's reading, that are the same book for the summer. Okay, but make sure you read. And I would also encourage you to maybe do some journaling as well too, just to kind of keep that flow going for yourself as well. Okay.
Thank you. And there is another question, Emerson. I think this is maybe for you. Did you become friends with local students?
Yeah, okay, I was just gonna touch on that. So first off, well, yes, I did. And what I would do if I were you, would be you have like a certain amount of money that you can use from SYA to do co-curriculars. So you can, like, if you have any hobbies that you want to continue or you play any sports, you should definitely do that. So I did cooking classes and I took a ceramics class. But I know my best friend there was a competitive rower. So she rowed every single day and did competitions all across the country. So that is by far the best way to make friends in Zaragoza, is just do things like you would do at home. And then people are so curious about Americans, and they'd love to meet you. And they're super friendly. And then another thing is, through the school, we have a program called Joven Erasmus. So that basically is people get together from the school. So maybe there are about 20 SYA kids and 10 Spanish kids, I want to say. And just once a week, we'd meet up and talk about issues in our society, or not even issues, just things in general. Like we talk about pop culture, and each group, there would be a group each week that would do a presentation on it, and then we'd talk for like an hour and a half. So I know a lot of us like hung out after that. And then another great program that we had was one day there, or one day here, one day there. So you go to a Spanish school for the day, and then they come to SYA for the day, and they're your partner, and it's great. So I did that, and then the person that I was paired with was super sweet, and we hung out a few times after that. But one of my other friends, he was paired with this girl, and we really hit it off. And so now she's actually coming in like 2 weeks to stay with me for a month. So we're doing like a mini exchange. And that's by far the best way to meet people, I'd say. But really just be friendly, and they don't care about your Spanish level. They just really want to get to know you. So yeah, co-curriculars and whatever the school offers you, just do that, and you'll be all set.
Gracias, Emerson. It's great to hear how the different ways you connect with the Spanish students here. And I think, as Emerson was saying, they are really curious too, and they really want to be friends with you because, you know, it's different. So the same way you want to be friends with them, they also want to be friends with you. So it is a wonderful way of finding connections, and then, you know, exploring more those connections between the people you met in different activities and things like that. So thank you, Emerson. And there is another question. Oh, when should we expect to find out our classes? So your schedules will be finalized here once you get to Zaragoza, and they will be finalized here once you get here. And
Rocio, I want to jump in here as a mom of student who was there about 12 years ago. I think one thing, although Rocio was saying it's not compulsory, I really encourage you to try to practice a little bit, to be immersed a little bit in Spanish somehow. You know, watching TV shows like Emerson was suggesting, listening to podcasts, whatever you can do, even audiobooks, whatever you can do, I think it will help you a lot to not get there cold. And then the other thing is go there with an open mind. There's, people might be a little different, might have a little different ways of doing things, but, that just makes us, more understanding of others. That's it.
Muchas gracias, Grace. And well, I would like to say that we are very excited that you all have decided to take part in this unique academic experience. You will have to make a lot of micro decisions here in Zaragoza that will have an impact on the quality of your time here. And studying abroad presents challenges, as we've been hearing, but it's not easy because it's not easy to live into a new country and a new language. But by embracing that challenge with an open mind, as Grace was mentioning, you will come out a stronger person with new skills that will serve you for life. And we will all be here to support you and to guide you along the way. The team at Zaragoza is wonderful, and we are all here waiting for you and help you. And remember that there have been many people in your shoes before, including myself, who have been traveling and living in many different parts of this world. And I can assure you that this is a life-changing experience, and one that you are gonna remember forever. So thank you so much for joining us here, and I'm looking forward to see you in our next webinar in August. I don't know if Mr. Hassan wants to close our webinar with some words.
Well, thank you so much, and the thanks to the Spain team. I know I can't wait to welcome you all in the fall. Thank you to the parents on this call, because we know that's a lot to share your child with us for the year, but as Rocio said, our safety is our top priority, and also a top priority is to make that experience as rich and exciting as we possibly can. And students, thank you for making the leap, and you're like generations ahead before you. SYA Spain is actually our longest running program. It started in the fall of 1964. Probably the difference then was that it was just a boys program, and they had to take a boat across the Atlantic to get there. So you guys will be hopping on a plane soon and getting over there much quicker. But you'll have that same experience of host family and immersive experience. And we've added, as Alvaro has said, we've added many more opportunities for you to interact with the local and the regional and the country communities. So welcome, thank you, and we'll see you in. And Grace, do you remember the next webinar for Spain? That's I think the early September.
It's on August 30th.
August 30th, okay.
PM, August 30th at 3 p.m. and then the chaperone flight on September 6th for those of you that are taking the chaperone flight. And I guess a little commercial, if there's anyone who hasn't purchased the flight, go ahead and do that. There's lots of good information on that resource board. When you log into your portal at My SYA, and there's plenty of good information on the flights. There's also a calendar. There's lots of good information there. So just a little commercial. If you haven't purchased the flight, there's good information on the flight over and also for the return. So you can buy your round ticket now.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. That's a great reminder for all the families. Grace just posted the detailed calendar up to the resource board. So on the flights page to the right, you'll see a student rosters up. You'll see, and you'll also now see a detailed calendar in addition to all the flight information. So if you have any questions regarding that, you can just send me an email. It's in the chat box. I'm sure you have it by now, but we can talk more about those details in a little bit. Thank you all.
Great. And special thanks to Emerson. Thanks, Emerson, for all your good words.
Thank you so much, Emerson. Muchas gracias y buena suerte.
Gracias. I'll get to meet most of the students, I guess, in the fall. So I'll be back.
Aquí te estamos esperando.
Bueno, hasta luego.
Adiós.
Chao,
Adiós.
muchas gracias.
Thank you all.